I think that there's always fun ways that you can, figure out how to use different tools and technology to do stuff. I mean, have you ever seen, this is actually super random, but have you ever seen I think it's called Notebook LM or something like that? It's like a tool that I believe it might be Google or somebody that offers it, where you can actually upload stuff to it and it will create a audio podcast with like guests or like hosts that talk about stuff.
Really?
Yeah.
We're gonna be replaced?
I mean, maybe not replaced, but we could be joined by a robotic guest, I
Oh,
don't know.
geez. Listen, unless that robotic guest understands that Michael Jordan is number 2, I don't want to talk to him.
Well, it depends on what you tell the AI at this point.
Yeah,
But
they'll agree with
maybe,
everything you say, right?
nah, well, I mean, depends on what you feed it, right? Like if you only feed it stuff for it to think that, then maybe it would think that.
I'm just saying,
At least,
man.
at least right now, right? That in the future, maybe it'll start thinking on its own and it'll be like, no, you're wrong, or I agree with you.
I don't trust it. When I've looked up some stuff in the past, it's been inaccurate. And then I call it out for being inaccurate. And then it's like, you're right. This is what I should have said instead. And then it sends me something that's also inaccurate. And I'm like, you're wrong again. And it's like, you're right. I'm like, dude, what are we doing here?
I think that for now, it's like a secret ploy where they want you to think you're smarter than it at the moment. So it does
It's
that.
tricking us.
Yeah,
The
and
AI
it's
is
like
manipulating us.
Yeah, I mean, why wouldn't it? It's like I got this inaccurate, so it's like, oh yeah, I'm still better than this thing. But secretly, it's like, no, bastard, I actually know the answer. I just want you to feel good about yourself.
Yeah, I don't know. It's exhausting. And speaking of exhausting, man, just some life updates. It has been a hell of a couple of weeks, man. I've been working, feeling really good though. I think the stuff that I've been doing lately has really made me feel valued. And so, I woke up at 5 a.m. today and went straight to the office. And it's just like these days, I don't work in a hospital for a reason, right? Like I don't want to wake up that early, but life has been pretty good, man. I love my job. And so that makes it really palatable for these days where you just work long days and early hours.
Yeah.
But I am very excited for things to slow down a little bit. I feel like I've missed out on some of my normal routine, and I'm looking forward to getting back into that. But I just wanted to share that. I might be a little out of it tonight. If I say something where I call somebody the wrong name or whatever, just call me out, because you know that I've done that before. So just call me out. It's fine.
I mean, a little unhinged tonight. That would be nice.
You want me to go off the rails?
I don't know if I want you to, but probably the people watching might want to hear it. So,
Well,
feel free.
We'll see what we can do. I kind of went off the rails a little last week talking about Mike Tyson and Floyd Mayweather, so it could happen.
Well, lucky for you, there's some boxing tonight. Not tonight, but we're going to talk a little bit more boxing tonight because Floyd Mayweather is back in the news.
Great. Good.
Yeah.
Glad to hear that.
I mean, I think you'll appreciate it, though. There's some cool stuff with it.
Okay.
Maybe. We'll see.
What's going on with you? I know it's been cold and has it been snowing there? I know it's been snowing in other parts of the country.
No, I mean, similar. Things have been, I think, pretty productive. Actually, weirdly enough, it was like 60 degrees here last week for a few days.
Wow. Damn.
So all the snow melted and I'm just like, oh, okay, this is sweet. But no, I mean, outside of that, man, it's been the same old at the moment. I'm actually pretty excited. So next weekend, I have a coaching conference. So I've actually never been.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So I know you and I are big conference peeps, and we're going to be at the same conference again this year in March, which will be cool in LA.
I need to book my flight still. That's coming up quick.
Yeah, I did that recently. But yeah, so coaching conference. So never been to anything like this, and so our head coach basically asked us, "Hey, you guys all want to go to this? It's not too far from where we're at. It's in Detroit, so we're gonna Detroit area. Let's put it that way." But yeah, it should be interesting because I'm like, I'm used to wearing like suits and stuff at these conferences. So I'm like, do I wear like sweatpants? Because like coaches. Yeah, I'm like, I mean, coaches usually don't really like dress up. I mean, these days, they used to back in like the 50s and 60s, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, you could pull the Belichick and wear the hoodie with like the cut off seams at the shoulders and a t-shirt underneath it.
I could, or I could just wear a suit and be awkward. They'll be like, who the fuck's this guy? Is he in the NFL? He must be an NFL coach.
This guy's a scout. He's here undercover for Michigan.
Hey, You never know. But no, that should be super fun. Looking forward to that, and looking forward to getting back and more involved with some of the football stuff coming up over the summer and such. So should be super fun. I don't know,
Hell yeah.
something to look forward to.
Then you'll be waking up super early again, huh?
Maybe we'll see. I don't
Yeah.
know. But speaking of things that are fun, we had something really crazy happen this weekend on, what was it, Sunday? Yeah, this past weekend, Sunday, 8 a.m., right? Like, what a
Yes,
crazy time.
sir.
But
Yes, sir.
time zone difference. I kind of had to remember, oh, yeah, they are in Italy. USA, Canada, gold medals on the line. Scott, what'd you think?
Shivers, man. Honestly, one of the great sports moments that I've had in a while. Everything about that Sunday morning was just perfection. You had really, really gritty game of hockey. Both teams just playing their asses off. And I will say, Canada was the better team in that game, especially in the second and third periods. It felt like USA was just kind of trying to survive. And it just genuinely, it felt to me like every second mattered and everyone was playing their ass off the entire game. There were no shifts off. Everyone was sprinting. They were playing physical. Nobody was lackadaisical at all. And there were some big moments. There was when Jack Hughes got high sticked but there's like 6 minutes left and they got a double minor. So we were on power play for 4 minutes and it kind of felt like, I think we're going to win now. We got 4 minutes of power play. These guys have got to be tired. And then we get to about a minute left in our power play, and then we got a penalty. So then they ended up having a 4-on-4, and then they had their own power play for about a minute. It's just like, oh my gosh, like what's going to happen next? And then, bro, you go to overtime, and the traditionalists might hate this, right? But coming out and playing 3-on-3 hockey is just for me, it's an adrenaline rush just to watch. Because there's so much open ice. You can do so much without the congestion of all the players. And it's a fast game because everyone's flying at that point because there's so much more room to skate.
Wait, is the 3-on-3 just an Olympic thing, or is that an NHL thing too?
It's in the NHL for regular season, but not for playoffs. And playoffs, they stick to traditional 5-on-5 for overtime.
Okay, I didn't know that. That's interesting.
Yeah, and there was some controversy with that. I can't remember. It might have been the head coach, but somebody from Canada was kind of commenting afterwards, and they were like, yeah, I don't think that was actual hockey. Like, I don't like the 3-on-3 rule. Like, they were kind of upset about the fact that, to be truthful, I mean, they were dominating in 5-on-5 hockey at that point. So it kind of, I actually texted with some of my friends. We were group texting about like, yeah, I mean, they're kind of whooping our ass. Like the 3-on-3 might give us a chance just because it's different and it's easier to get like a lucky bounce or a big break. And it felt like that was the only way we were going to win. So I don't blame any Canadian fans, players, or coaches for being pissed off about the 3-on-3 rule, but it does emulate the regular season of NHL, and that is what they do for that as well.
Yeah, but I mean, a loss is a loss, right? Like, yes, you could say, okay, hey, 3-on-3 is very different than 5-on-5, but I mean, you lost, right? Like somebody scored a goal. That's the objective of the game. And at the end of the day, if you're the better team or the better players, like you score the goal first. I don't know. Like,
yeah,
that's why they play the game, right? Because anything can happen.
But dude, the beauty of the ending with Jack Hughes scoring the game-winning goal, the same dude who got his teeth knocked out of his mouth not very long before that. He still had like a bloody mouth and was missing some teeth, and it was just like, this is hockey, man. And no other sport does someone get multiple teeth messed up, just go right back onto the ice and then score the game-winning goal. Like I talk highly of LeBron James. I think he's had a ton of career success that doesn't get acknowledged enough. But if LeBron James had some teeth removed, that dude would be crying about it for like an entire week. And I will say that as a LeBron fan. Meanwhile, like Jack Hughes is out there with a bloody mouth, like scoring game-winning goals and then becoming a national hero. Like that's the difference between basketball and hockey.
Well, okay. So speaking of Jack Hughes, I know I texted you a video earlier today that I saw. I think it might have been on X I think it was on X, but did you see that, dude? That's like the craziest. I mean, I was trying to even digest, is that actually real or not?
I've been seeing it. Yeah, I've been seeing it everywhere from the Miracle movie, right? You're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're like in the movie, there's a player named Jack Hughes that the coach like crosses off, like they don't make the Olympic squad.
Yeah.
And here we are like 46 years later. I mean, I don't think the movie was made in 1980, but it was made, I think, in the 80s, right? So it's been, I'm just Googling it real quick.
I was going to say, I don't remember exactly when it was made.
Oh, no, it was 2004. So yeah.
I was going to say, I thought it was more recent.
But even with that, I mean, 2004 is 22 years ago.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, Jack Hughes is this actual like national hockey star that is on the Olympic team. Like, just what a weird circumstance of the world that we live in. And those weird coincidences sometimes happen, and it's just like, how is that possible? You know, like
Yeah.
how is that actually possible?
Well, that's what's like so confusing. I mean, I feel like people are calling this like what, I heard some guy say, what in the Simpsons episode is this? Like, how the hell did in this movie that's, on, I mean, basically it's about hockey. And I mean, okay, don't get me wrong. Jack Hughes could be a very
They're
generic
yeah,
name
they're
for a
not uncommon
character.
names, right? Like Jack and Hughes are fairly common names, but still, like,
Yeah. What are the chances? Like, I actually would like to know the statistics. What are the chances that ever were to happen, that he would be a player on this team and it like relates back to that random thing? Also, how the hell did somebody notice it that in that movie?
listen, a lot of people love that movie. I'm actually ashamed as a hockey fan that I have never seen it, and it's always been on my list to watch, and I haven't made it like the priority to actually sit down and watch it.
Yeah.
But people who love that movie, and I've only heard good things about it. So
Yeah.
it is a crazy thing, and if you think about it, man, we haven't won gold in the Olympics 46 years. That the
Yeah.
Miracle on Ice team was the last time that we did it. And so kind of crazy that the next time that we win since that movie came out and since that team played in real life, that Jack Hughes was the guy who scored the game-winning goal. Like, that's just crazy stuff right there. There have been many Olympics in between then.
I didn't realize it'd been that long since we actually won gold. Wow.
Yeah. Yep. It was like the monkey that we just couldn't shake off, right? Like, I mean, I think we've only won gold like a couple of times ever,
Wow.
but we haven't actually won it since 1980. So it's been quite a while.
And do you know anything about Team Canada? Are they pretty like? I thought I saw something like they haven't. I don't remember if it was they haven't lost since 1994 or their last win or something was in 1994. It was some weird statistic about 1994 for some reason sticks out to
Yeah.
me. But I mean, I
Yeah.
think naturally they got to be a really good team, right? I don't know much about Olympic hockey. I'll be honest.
Oh yeah. I mean,
I would,
they've won gold 9 times. This is just from a quick search that I'm doing here.
yeah,
Recently, they won it in 2002, 2010, 2014. Before that, it was like a long time ago that they won in like the 20s and the 30s and 40s and 50s. So,
wow,
but yeah, I mean, they're always considered like the best team in the world, even if they don't win. And
yeah,
rightfully so. I mean, their roster this season on that Olympic team was just like nothing but like all stars and captains for like all the NHL teams. Like, it was a
yeah,
scary good squad, and like I said, they outplayed United States. So
yeah,
it's a weird thing because I know that a lot of it is memes. I know that a lot of it is just like pride, like being, a patriot. But I feel like people are like almost like borderline like talking shit, and I'm like, I mean, we're very lucky we won that game. Like, we need to tip our hats to Canada because they played their asses off, and they would win that game 9 times out of 10.
yeah.
And even this is actually funny. I have to talk to you about this. Did you see the quote from Nathan McKinnon, the Canadian player?
No,
Well, he's a little bitter after they lost. And they asked him about the game, and he said, "You be the judge of who the better team was today," to the media, instead of
wow,
being like humble in defeat. And the funniest thing about that is that Nathan McKinnon missed a wide open net. Like, he shot it and it went off the side of the goal instead of going in. And they would have
yeah,
won the game if he made that shot. And then he's out here like, oh, you tell me who the better team was. And it's like, maybe make your shot, and we don't have this conversation. But Nathan McKinnon is a stud. He's a very good hockey player. So again, very
well,
lucky that he didn't score on that shot.
well, as an above average guy, I have to say it sounds like he missed, and he's crying about it. So I don't know.
I think that's a nice summary there. And then I think the other thing that's worth talking about, Deeb, and I know this was kind of like briefly mentioned, but Johnny Goodrow, I know, there's been a lot of story about Johnny Goodrow.
Yeah.
His nickname was Johnny Hockey, if that tells you how
Oh.
integral he was to the hockey world. And do you know like anything about his story? I know that you haven't historically watched a whole lot of hockey.
No, I mean honestly, I don't. I'd never really heard the name until you said something today.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
it's actually a very tragic story. He was a very good hockey player. He was very integral into the United States hockey scene. Excuse me. Again, nicknamed Johnny Hockey, so you know that this guy was good. He played for a couple of teams. He was on the Blue Jackets, and I want to say maybe he played for New Jersey, I think, as well. Or no, he played
Hmm.
for the Calgary Flames. He played for the Calgary Flames too. So yeah, spent some time in Canada as well. But tragic story, him and his brother, who was also a hockey player, were cycling. Like they were just riding bicycles out. It was like 8 o'clock at night, and they got hit by a driver who was under the influence, and
Wow.
both of them died. They both got hit by a car while riding bicycles and passed away.
Sheesh.
And this was just like in August of last year, so it's still pretty fresh. It was right before the NHL season really kicked off, and
Hmm.
the the really sad part of this, other than the death, which is tragic in itself, but Johnny Gaudreau was going to be on the Olympic team this year. He was like the USA
Oh.
Hockey has come out and said that he was not. It wasn't official yet, but they already had him like on their roster. And it was like his lifelong dream to play in the Olympics for Team USA. And
wow.
he never got to do that. Even with all of his success in hockey, he never actually was on a US Olympics team because the NHL didn't allow their players to play in the Olympics for the last several Olympic cycles. I think we talked about that a while back. So this
Yeah.
is like the first year where NHL players were able to like actually play in the Olympics again. And he was going to finally be on the team, and then tragically, passed away. So
Wow.
there's
That's crazy.
yeah, just a horribly sad story, but also like such a really kind of beautiful spin on it. They had his jersey in the United States locker room the entire time that they were there. And then after they won, and his family was there watching too, his parents
Wow.
and like his kids. And after they won, the US players were like skating around the ice rink with his jersey and like really honoring him. And then I thought the really cool thing was they took like the team photo with the, after they win the gold medals or whatever, they all get like the photo on the ice. And some of the players actually went and got his kids who were like young. I think they're like 2 and 4, like they're pretty young children. And they actually
wow.
had them like in the picture with them, like with just the players from the US hockey team for like the Olympic photo. So
Wow.
just a really sad story and like a really heartwarming tribute. And
Yeah.
actually, Bearded Sensei, he was on our podcast once before, but
Yeah.
he sent me a meme today, actually, going back to the Nathan McKinnon thing.
Mhm.
And it said, like, Nathan McKinnon makes this goal 99 out of 100 times. And then it says the 100th time. And it was like a faded image of like Johnny Gaudreau, like poke checking the puck as he was trying to shoot it.
Nice.
And so I'm like, man, but it was emotional, dude. Like I was tearing up. I feel like anybody who like is a hockey fan and is invested in what happened, it was very, very emotional.
Yeah. Wow.
And just I think the intensity of the game, the outcome of the game, then that emotional impact, I was just like, dude, this is how I wish every Sunday was like this. Like this, it just felt like such an amazing start to a Sunday. And it just had a little bit of everything. So yeah, I mean, I've been getting wordy here, but that gold medal game it was very memorable for a whole lot of reasons.
Yeah. No, I didn't realize there was that much other stuff that happened, outside like that story. I didn't know that played into this either. So that was all news to me. I know you had mentioned the name, but I was like, no, I honestly I don't know who that is.
Mm-hmm.
So was he do you know where he was like at in his career? Was he like an older player, mid play? Like,
yeah, he was
is he
31.
a younger guy?
He was 31 and his brother was 29. So I mean, some
Wow.
of these guys go until 40, but some of them pack it up like in their mid 30s. I think he probably still had a good several years left. And obviously he was still an Olympic caliber player, but
Yeah, that's really
he
sucks,
wasn't a
man.
rookie, but he definitely still had some playing time left, but for sure.
Yeah.
So
That's rough, man. I didn't realize, number one, he was part of that, but number two, yeah, I mean, that's number one. Obviously, it just sucks like the circumstance, but I didn't know the tie into the Olympic stuff.
yeah, it's pretty
that
crazy
would make
stuff.
that would make it that much more, like you said, kind of impactful and emotional. Maybe they'll make a movie about it someday.
That would be a tearjerker. That would be so sad.
You know what they will put in the movie though?
What's that?
They'll have to put that many of the players on the Olympic team were from the state of Michigan.
You know what? All 4 of the players on the ice when they scored the game-winning goal are from Michigan.
Yeah.
Kind of crazy statistic there.
Yeah.
Including the goalie. The goalie was also from Michigan. So
how do you pronounce that guy's name?
Hellebuyck.
Hellebuyck. Okay. I was gonna say. I was like, I know it looks like that's how it's pronounced, but I didn't want to mispronounce it. Huh.
Yeah, or Hellebuyck. I've heard it both ways, and I don't know if that's just like depending if I'm listening to like a Canadian announcer or not. But yeah.
Hellebuyck. Yeah.
But oh my gosh, dude. And he played out of his mind. I mean, he had like 40 plus saves. He only gave up 1 goal against literally like the best players in the entire NHL and in the world.
Yeah.
And what a time to do that, going up, because he went up against Jordan Binnington for Canada, which he's a Blues goalie.
It's a beast.
he isn't always good in the regular season, but he rises up to the big moments. And he did have a good Olympics. As you know, he helped them win the Four Nations tournament last year's.
Yeah.
It's
I
just a
remember you talking about him.
yeah, just a big goalie standoff. I mean, it was tied 1-1 going into overtime, so they both played great.
Yeah, that's cool. But yeah, I mean, I think it's cool. I think it's a good moment overall for sports in general. I think it is kind of cool to see America face Canada, especially after the Four Nations stuff last year and how good that
Hmm.
was. And, to get a little bit of the revenge back, I think, after what happened last time with that. And just like you said, feel good moment overall with the story. And yeah, I mean, I just feel like people are going crazy on social media about it. And, it's just, it's one of those cool things. I know the team was at the White House, it looks like. I saw
Hmm.
them posting about that. Did the women's team win the gold too?
They did, and they beat Canada in overtime 2-1. Also, it was like mirror
Okay.
games, and that was
Okay.
actually something that was really cool. They interviewed Jack Hughes after the game, and the first thing he did was talk about like how proud he was to be in America, and it kind of talked about his country. And then they said, who was the first person you thought about after you scored the goal? And he was like, surprisingly, the first person I thought about was Megan Keller, which is the girl who scored the overtime goal for the women's team as well. I was like, that's
Okay.
kind of a cool moment there, and kind of cool that both teams really rose up. And I think we're probably both underdogs here, and both kind of came home with the gold. And to your point, there's so much buzz around this right now. And for the first time in a long time, it felt like there was like a couple of day period where people were just like kind of embracing being proud of being an American. And there's so much
Yeah.
political turmoil and divisiveness in the world right now that you don't get to see a collection of people really talking about that. And so it was kind of nice that it felt like hockey kind of unified some people for at least for a couple of days.
Yeah.
The State of the Union is today, and I'm sure we'll go right back to our usual behavior, but we had a couple of good days there and we had a nice run.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, you win gold, you got to celebrate it, especially in hockey. But, so I don't want to, I know we just talked about something that was exciting and also there was some tragedy involved, with it. But man, I don't know what the heck's going on in sports, but did you see the NFL wide receiver? I think his name is Rondell Moore.
Yep.
And that he unfortunately passed away. I think it was maybe this weekend, Saturday or something like that.
Yeah, that Saturday sounds right. I did see that, and man, it's just really sad. I mean, from all indications at this point, it sounds like it might have been self-inflicted, and
Yeah.
I think it highlights an issue that doesn't get talked about enough, and there's twofold to it here, and I won't soapbox too much here, but there's hidden depression is a big issue, and I think especially in men, everybody is this way, but I think in men we don't seek help quickly. We don't like to ask for help or admit that we have issues, and with athletes, I imagine there's a lot more pressure because there's just the stigma of the athlete, and I don't know how many times you've heard like, oh well, their life's great, like it can't be that bad, just because they have money. But
Yeah.
also thinking about all the added pressure, and I don't know anything about the circumstances of why this happened. I don't know if anybody does, but it's just a tragedy. And certainly
Yeah.
certainly there had to be some dark things happening for that to happen.
Yeah, so I actually read up a little bit because I was curious. So he was a former Purdue player, and he played for, excuse me, the Cardinals, looks like the Falcons, and most recently the Vikings. So apparently he actually had some like his first, I think it was like his first 2 or 3 years, he actually was doing really well. Like he was
Hmm.
kind of a standout guy in terms of like his play and statistics and stuff. And then he suffered some like pretty gnarly injuries the past couple years, especially I think it was like when he went from, it might have been the Falcons to the Vikings. He got hurt in the preseason and it was pretty bad to where like he couldn't play any longer, or not any longer, but like he was going to be out for a while.
Hmm.
And I think one of the articles, at least that I saw, was saying that that was potentially part of it. Like that,
Yeah.
realization that like what you love to do or what you do kind of on a daily basis, like he kept getting hurt, so like his dream of playing and all that kind of stuff was a little bit struggly, if that makes sense, because of the injury. So I'm not saying that that's the only reason why, but at least one of the articles that I read was talking about how he kept getting injured and there was
Yeah.
definitely some mental struggles with that, which, you can imagine. Like I can't imagine that because, I don't like, I'm not an athlete. So if I get injured, it's because I did something stupid or, whatever, like I'm
Right.
getting old and I fell down the stairs, like that thing. But You know what I mean? It's like if you were to get hurt and it were to then prevent you to do something that you love, like I can imagine, and if that's your profession and that's what you do for money and what you love to do, like that would be pretty depressing, I'd have to imagine.
Yeah, especially a couple of
So,
years in a row. I actually had Rondale Moore on my in my dynasty league. I drafted him in the startup season, and I
oh,
had him on my IR for a whole season when he was on the
okay.
Falcons. And then I had to make room. I just had to get somebody else. So I actually didn't have him. He got hurt again, and I had to let him go. I couldn't keep putting him on the IR every year. But yeah, I
That's real
just,
nice, man.
I mean, I just, to your point though, as a professional, especially a young professional trying to make it, I mean, that's a lot of setbacks. 2 years in a row where he missed the entire season.
Yeah. You shouldn't have dropped him from your team. See what happens.
I don't know how to reply to that.
I'm just joking. I mean, I'm not laughing about the situation. I'm just trying to add a light to
A little
the
lightheartedness here.
darkness. Yeah, a
Yep.
little lightheartedness to the darkness. But just wanted to talk about it since I know it was, something that was definitely tragic and I'm very unfortunate, obviously, in sports.
Yeah.
Kind of brings you to the highs and the lows, the highs of Canada, USA in the win, and then the lows of some of the players that pass away because of things. So,
Yeah. Absolutely.
but I do want to talk about your favorite sport lately, which is boxing. And so I'll start with something more reasonable, and then we can talk about your favorite guy is Floyd Mayweather and another guy. But so, have you paid any attention to Ryan Garcia at all,
Not
or do
in
you
a
know who that
while
is?
because that guy's an effing moron. That guy's an idiot.
Okay, so number one, did you ever like notice when he kind of went off the rails on social media
Yeah.
for a little
Yeah.
while?
Yeah, with just crazy like racist hate speech and just saying like insane things all the time on social media. Yeah, I remember that.
So there was a random period of time, I don't know what the hell was going on, and I can't tell if he was being serious, if like it was a ploy to like gain attention or followers, or I really don't know because it was very weird because at that time, like I didn't really know who he was, and I saw him on a couple of different podcasts. And like when you listen to him on the podcast, honestly, like he doesn't. I'm not saying he doesn't seem crazy, but he seemed like semi normal. Like it wasn't as bad as some of the stuff that you see online of like, what the hell is this guy talking about? And so that's where I kept getting confused. Of is this guy for real or is he just doing this for attention or you know what I mean? But anyway, so that's kind of a side story. But Ryan Garcia, he actually he's kind of struggled a bit in the boxing world lately, but he did end up beating Mario Barros or something. Barrios, I think is his name, for the UBC welterweight belt, and that was pretty recent. So what are your general thoughts? Like, does this even matter? Is this kind of just like, oh, boxing it's not really a relevant sport, this guy's not
Well,
relevant? Like, what are your just general thoughts on real boxing,
I
not
think
like the BS stuff?
boxing is still very relevant across the world. I think it's taken a bit of a backseat in the United States. And unfortunately, it's a sport that's been plagued with controversy for decades. Probably since its entire existence, there's been controversial boxers. You look at guys like Mike Tyson, who had all kinds of controversy, went to prison. He had the issue with, biting the dude's ear. And there's all kinds of stuff that happens historically with boxers. I think it's probably because of the psychopathic behavior and mindset you have to be a professional boxer and to be at a high level.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is a weird one because this guy had that kind of string of crazy, like just insanely offensive speech that he was doing. And then he got expelled from boxing for a while because he had like performance enhancing drugs. I remember seeing that. And
Yeah.
there were fights where he like missed weight and then he was like vandalizing hotels and stuff. So it's just like this guy like went off the deep end and I haven't heard about him in years probably. So who knows? I mean, maybe he's sought out help and maybe he's corrected his lifestyle. I don't know. I also don't
Mhm.
feel qualified to say whether or not someone that does all that should be allowed to come back to the sport and make money off of it or not. I don't have that authority, but
Mhm.
I hope for the best that maybe he is um, healed of whatever was going on with him.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, but I didn't watch the fight. I don't know any. This is the first I've heard of it, so I didn't
Yeah.
even know he was fighting again.
I mean, you brought up a really interesting point, and I think it actually makes sense, but I've never really thought about it in that way. That you really probably do have to be a psychopath mentally to be a fighter, right? Like your job is literally to beat people up.
And to get beat up too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, that's like, don't get me wrong. you still have to have strategy. So I feel like there's got to be a little bit of levelness to you there in terms of like, how you fight. But dude, can you imagine like doing that as a career, just fighting people? Like I don't even know how to explain it, but I cannot imagine doing that. Like it would be, I don't know, it would be insane
Yeah.
to have that as your career to me.
Well, and then you see these guys when they're like in their 50s and 60s and they've got like mush mouth and can barely talk and their brain is just a little bit rattled from being pummeled for decades of their life just taking direct hits to the head nonstop. So
Yeah.
it does have lasting effects. That's for damn sure.
So the other one that I thought was interesting, which I know you really enjoy these, is did you see that Manny Pacquiao is going to face Floyd Mayweather Jr. for a second fight? I guess they, obviously
Really?
yeah. So it's scheduled in September on Netflix, your favorite boxing showcase media outlet now. But here's the cool part, Scott. Even if you think it is what it is, it's two old guys fighting. It'll actually be the first ever boxing match at the Sphere in Las Vegas.
Ooh, okay. Well, that's an interesting fact. And you know what? I will say with this one, yes, these are two older guys, but they were at one point considered the number one and number two in boxing at the same time. It's not like two different generations fighting each other to try and grab cash. And the fight they had, if I recall, was fairly controversial about like some people thought Pacquiao should have won. Floyd ended up
Mhm.
winning. And so why not run something like that back that actually has a historical rivalry with two guys that were relevant from the same era
Yeah.
versus having a giant in Mike Tyson come out and fight a much smaller version of Floyd Mayweather in an exhibition because they both want some money. Like I think there's a big difference there.
Yeah. Oh, let me ask you this though. They're like, I just looked up. So Pacquiao is 47 years old. I have to imagine Floyd Mayweather is maybe a little younger.
Floyd
Let me
is two
check.
years older than Pacquiao.
49. Wow, I didn't
Yeah.
realize he was okay. So, I mean, do you feel like again it's still kind of gimmicky because these are like almost 50-year-old guys fighting each other?
In a way, yes, because they've stepped away from the sport, right? Like they haven't been fighting, so they're not at the top anymore. And you know
Mhm.
that the purse is going to be gigantic. They're going to probably make hundreds of millions of dollars. So in a way, yes, but in a way, no, because these guys are closer in size. Like when they fought last time, I mean, they're within a couple inches of height, and then they both weighed 145 when they fought last time. I was just looking this
Yeah.
up, and that was like the weight class they fought in traditionally. Like they were around that weight for their careers. And I think that's much less gimmicky to have two dudes that are roughly the same size that did, like I said, ruled the same era, that they did have a rivalry. They had a controversial finish. In my mind, if you're going to come back to boxing, this is the type of fight you do, not a Floyd Mayweather versus Mike Tyson match. So
Yeah.
I would probably watch this one. I still will have low expectations because they're older and they're probably going to take it a little safe, especially Floyd Mayweather is known for being a defensive counter fighter and he doesn't really like, he'll stand back all day long and just wait till someone comes to him. And so
Mhm.
I don't know that it will be an entertaining fight, but it will be kind of a revitalization of a historical part of boxing. So yeah, I'll probably watch this one. I feel differently about it.
I don't know if it's an exhibition though. I think it's a legit, like at least from what I've saw right now,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's an exhibition like the Tyson Mayweather. Like I mean
Okay.
that one obviously makes sense cuz they're way different weight class, but I think this
Yeah.
is like a legit, like if whatever reason Floyd Mayweather loses, which who knows, I mean, you know how these things go and he's unblemished.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think if they keep it as an actual fight, that'll be way more entertaining in my opinion than like an exhibition. I feel like an exhibition's BS at this point.
Yeah, I mean it is.
Just like,
Unless it's like
okay,
let's say it's for charity, then maybe like maybe
yeah.
that's but if they're taking just out of curiosity, I just looked and the last time they fought, Floyd Mayweather got $180 million for the purse, and
Wow.
Pacquiao got $120 million. So
Holy crap.
one fight, $300 million gone out to the two people. Like that's crazy.
Well,
But
I'm
at that
wondering
time,
how
they were
much
the
this
top.
one is.
Yeah, and it might not be that much because at the time they were the top two fighters in the world, and
Yeah.
it was a different generation. But money talks, man. There's a reason I think that they're going to do this fight again, and they probably are going to make a ton of money.
Oh yeah. So let me tell you this, or let me ask you this, excuse me. Would you rather watch it at the Sphere or on TV if you could?
I'd rather watch it on TV. I think when you do something like a live in person sports combat event, there are very few seats that are actually like reasonable to see what's actually happening from a technical standpoint in the ring.
Yeah.
And then most of them are, you're just going to watch a screen anyway. And so I probably would rather just watch this in comfort and be able to really see the action from all the angles that the TV would provide. And um,
Yeah.
especially because these two are coming back now. If I was a diehard boxing fan who was like living and breathing this sport, I might have a different answer.
Yeah. You'd rather be able to pause it and poop real quick.
I mean, you can take some breaks whenever whenever Manny is trying to fight and Floyd Mayweather's just running away. You could go grab some popcorn or something. Yeah.
Or you could just take your phone in the bathroom and continue to watch.
Yes. Yes, you could. Yes.
The comforts of life we have now.
Yeah. First world problems.
Be interesting. I'm curious if this, like you said, will be a boring fight, kind of whatever, more of like a bunny grab type thing, or if it's actually like, I mean, that's the thing. Mayweather is kind of a weird fighter, so I don't know that he's really been, at least for non-boxing enthusiasts, maybe
Right.
it's maybe not as fun to watch as like, Tyson trying to kill someone or.
Well, I mean, even look at the Conor McGregor fight with Floyd Mayweather, and it brought a lot of people to watch the sport that typically don't, and they hated it, and they thought that Conor should have won. And it's like, you just don't know boxing. Conor got pieced up by Floyd Mayweather, but it was boring. But that's how Mayweather fights. And Conor wasn't anywhere near good enough of a boxer to fight that style of a boxer who's just going to make you look silly. So,
Didn't Mayweather fight Logan Paul?
yes, that I think was an exhibition, though.
What the, like, that's literally the most random thing I've ever heard too. I mean, Mike Tyson's a little random too, but like
Money, dude, just it's a money grab. I mean, they called it a bragging rights match, and generated $80 million in revenue. And it was an exhibition. It wasn't even like a title fight or even an actual professional fight that goes on their record.
So if you got in the ring with either one of those guys, how long do you think you would actually last?
Well, if it was Floyd Mayweather, it depends if he's going to punch me or not, because I could just run away from him too. However, he can knock people out, and he has. So, yeah, if I was in the ring with either one of these guys, you talking about Pacquiao or Logan Paul?
Well, I was talking about Mayweather or Pacquiao.
Yeah, I would probably last about 15 seconds if I was lucky. And that would be with me trying to create some distance for the first 5 to 10 seconds before they came in and pummeled me. I mean, I'm being real. I'm a realist here, so definitely gonna be hitting that mat really quickly.
I don't know though. You got some weight on them. They might be a little intimidated, and then they'd be like, no, this guy's not a professional. Like, let me just hit him once.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, your head goes with your cardio, and so I wouldn't last very long, but maybe more than 15 seconds. Who knows? I probably have a longer reach than they do. I could probably try and jab them away from me, but that wouldn't last for very long.
You could just do the Jake Paul and just fall every 10 seconds to hug them.
I could do that. Yeah, I could do that. That would buy me a little time.
Like try to pull their underwear off or whatever.
Yeah, what the hell was that? That was such a weird fight. Like, dude, you literally cannot do that. You're trying to do like a wrestling takedown right now.
I don't know, man. But speaking of fighting, I want to move into something a little bit more, I think, interesting. We'll move to the UFC because I don't know if you, well, you're the one that sent me this actually. I didn't even know about this, but the Sean Strickland presser and all the stuff that was wild. What are your thoughts on that and the fight if you saw any highlights from it?
Well, getting back to hate speech, here we go. Sean Strickland just laying it all out there on the microphone on Paramount Plus. I'm sure they were really happy that they have that UFC partnership when that's a new partnership, and Sean Strickland just saying what he wants. And I don't think there's a place, honestly, for that in a fight promotion. None of it had to do with fighting at all. I think it's stupid, but also I'm not in charge of any of that stuff. And I think the interesting thing here is that Dana White came out. Did you hear about Dana White kind of addressing it?
I saw it. Yeah. What he said.
Yeah. He was basically just like, yeah, if you don't want him to talk about it, then don't ask him the questions. I'm not here to police anybody. Everyone can speak on their own free will. And I'm like, shit, okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Sean Strickland ended up winning the match and kind of dominating fashion.
Yeah.
So he backed up all the shit he was talking. And then did you see the post press conference when they talked after the match?
No, I didn't see that.
Well, someone asked him a question and he grabbed the mic and was trying to go on like another one of his little tangents. And Paramount shut the microphone off, and he was sitting there talking into the mic, but it wasn't working.
Wow, they learned their lesson. They were just like, turn this off.
Yeah, they're like, this guy's about to drop some slurs. We need to cut that shit.
Wow.
Yeah, honestly, it was just messy. I know he was doing it to draw eyes and to create some controversy, and I'm sure it was his way of hyping up the fight. To some of these guys do some crazy shit to try and get people to watch, if for no other reason, in hopes of watching them get knocked out. But I just think there's some different ways to do it other than maybe using slurs. That just kind of is crazy to me in the year 2026.
Okay, but let me ask you this though, because number one, I think it's interesting. Yeah, I think Dana actually kind of made an interesting point, right? So, how much of it is the media like egging him on to, you know what I mean, open the door for him to even start talking about that kind of stuff? So, number one, how much of it do you think is on the media because they're, you know, asking the questions? But number two, like, honestly, to me, he literally seems like if you were to just take a random guy from middle America, pull him out of the house, and I'm not saying everybody's like this, but like your average random middle America man, pull him out of the house and put him in front of a camera and ask him these types of questions. Like I don't know. It's almost like in a weird way, it's like, yeah, people find it entertaining, but it almost seemed like human in a weird way. And I'm not like agreeing with the stuff he said. I'm just saying he just talks like people do, you know, in the locker room or at a bar or whatever. Like it just, I don't know. And I don't know if that's why people,
He sounded
you know,
like
are
he was sitting
drawn
around a
to it.
bonfire drunk in backwoods Ohio, is what he sounded
Yeah,
like.
exactly. Yep. Yeah. That's exactly what I'm trying to describe pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah. And I've been that. I've seen that. I haven't been that, but I've seen that, you know. I've been to some of those camping trips. Yeah, no, I to your media point, I first of all, it's very obvious some of these guys are not media trained. And sometimes that's for the
Yeah.
better, I think, and sometimes it's for the worse, like maybe what we saw here. But the media only cares about clicks and engagement. You know, we could go down that route too, right? Because we would love clips and engagement, but like we have some personal boundaries that we set up with things we might do with our podcast here. But the media doesn't care because they're not the ones that it blows back on. It blows back on
Yeah.
Sean Strickland. So they'll ask the questions and try and let people make assholes out of themselves because there is no negative repercussion for the media for asking the question. And I do think that they try to manipulate and push buttons to get
Yep.
reactions, to get clicks and engagement. And so I do think there's a small fraction of shared responsibility, but this went off the deep end. I think this, you can't really blame the media for where this went.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, he went off on a lot of stuff. Just one topic.
Right.
Many things, many things that it was just like so, like you said, super random. But I don't know. Interesting. Like you said, you know, different ways to sell fights and stuff. But I definitely think the media doesn't help the case, you know, when they ask those types of things, because like you said, I don't think they give a shit. They're just like, let's ask him something controversial because we know he has a history of saying whatever's on his mind. Like he doesn't
Yep.
care, you know,
Yep.
like nothing's going to happen to him. He's a fighter. Like he's going to go in the ring and fight some guy.
Yep. Exactly.
I don't know, man.
Just kind of, like I said, just bizarre stuff. I was like, whoa, it's 2026, man. What are we doing here?
Yeah.
You don't see that kind of stuff much anymore.
Yeah. Well, you know, like I said, I mean, I think it was kind of an interesting overall just fight and also presser to look at. But so I know we've been tracking golf a lot, and this past weekend too, we had the Genesis Invitational, which is now kind of, I would call it Tiger's event because he's, you know, the host or whatever. He's like the guy that they interview. He's whatever. He got a deal with, I'm sure, Genesis. I know he's in their commercials and stuff from time to time. But what are your thoughts? Jacob Bridgman, you know, holds on the last day, kind of struggled a bit.
Yeah.
It seemed like he played a very safe, conservative round, but it was a round that made him win. You know, he didn't have to do anything too fancy based on what the lead was. But what was your reaction to the Genesis?
Well, more of the same from Scotty Scheffler. He ended the first day he was +5, I think, after one day, which is actually crazy because now it's becoming a pattern of behavior to just completely suck on Thursday and then spend the rest of the weekend playing phenomenal and catching back up. And yeah, I don't think he made top 10. I think he was tied for 12th this time, but still, like, he made himself competitive on an event that he was likely going to miss the cut on. He ended up making the cut and then finishing him tied for 12th. So that just, once again, kind of more of the same from him. And then just like, imagine if he could play golf on a Thursday one of these weeks, like what's going to stop him then? But with the Bridgman thing, it was an interesting one, man, because after Saturday ended, he was up by like 6 strokes or something crazy. And I'm like, I mean, you don't lose 6 strokes on you. He's going to win. But there was a chase. There was a big chase on Sunday. You had Rory McIlroy was like the closest, but then Kitayama was playing out of his mind. I think he went -7 on Sunday, I think.
Yeah, I had him in fantasy. Yeah.
Jeez. And so I think the big story was Rory because he was really the only one at the very end who had a chance of winning. And I think, if I recall, it was a birdie putt that he missed by like an inch or two. And I can't remember if it was hole 16 or 17, but it was very close. And that pretty much made it impossible to where he was going to need like an eagle to tie. So yeah, he ended up birdieing 18, but he still fell one shy because he couldn't eagle it, which made it a lot more entertaining because I thought it was going to be Bridgman just kind of running away with this, but Bridgman actually went one over on Sunday, which gave the others a chance.
Yeah, he kind of played, like I said, conservative, but also kind of like he didn't play great, but he did what enough. He played conservative enough to where he could still hold to win his first PGA event.
Yeah, and I think that the one thing that I found interesting in this, I don't know if you saw like the reporters asking Rory about like, does it hurt even more that you missed that putt now after you made the one on 18? And he was like, no, that putt I made on 18 made me like 400 or $500,000 of extra money, so it didn't hurt at all.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you look at it that way, yeah.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, it would have been cool to be tied for first, but that put me from third to second, and I made way more money then. So,
Yeah, but that kind of tells you where his head's at.
yeah, I mean, I think Rory's just fed up with the media in general. I think he's kind of at that stage where he's like, yeah, if you ask me dumb questions, you're going to get dumb answers.
So interesting. I haven't really seen this player too much so far, but are you familiar with, I think his last name is Potgeider or Poitgeider or
Yeah,
something like that?
yeah,
So I didn't know this, but they talked about it during the broadcast that apparently I didn't recognize him, honestly, because like I picked him a few times last year in some of the like the events where there wasn't a crazy field. And I'm like, oh, who's this random guy? He was like a little bit newer to the tour last year.
uh-huh.
And he ended up playing well. I think he won like a couple of those like off events or whatever. And I remember him because he can drive the ball so far. Like he was like crazy when you look at his driving distance last year. But it was actually kind of interesting. They talked about how he lost like 35 pounds in the off season and started going to the gym and like hired a personal trainer and nutritionist and all this stuff. And so he's actually like he looks way different if you look at pictures of him.
Yeah.
And yeah, I was just like, oh, like I didn't even realize it was him until I saw, like when they showed him, I was like, who the hell is this? And I was like, oh, interesting. He must have like, he kind of had like a little glow up here.
Yeah, and he's only 21 years old too. He's pretty young. I
Yeah.
actually think he looks a little older than he actually is.
Yeah.
But to your point, I recognize the name and some of the success he had at the end of last year, but I don't think I really would have recognized him if you put him out in a lineup of golfers until this weekend where he got a little bit more media time.
Yep. Yeah. So he was kind of one of those that shined, I think, in this event too, and ended up finishing fifth. Jake Knapp continues to play well, man. I don't
Yeah.
know. Like I feel like he's due, and I don't know. He could be one of those that either wins an event, or I could see maybe him being like in contention and maybe one of the majors if he keeps playing like this.
Yeah. I mean, every
So
week since we started the fantasy stuff up, he's been in contention every single week. And
yeah.
this week, I actually feel like he started a little slower and then he just kind of came back and golfed amazing for the rest of the weekend. So yeah, it feels like he should have an off week one of these weeks, but he hasn't. Unlike my boy Gotterup, who didn't make the cut this week, which is, I'm high on him. I talk about him a lot, and I chose him this week, and he let me down.
Yeah, it's probably because you chose him.
Starting to feel that way. It's starting to feel personal.
Nah, I mean he already has 2 wins, so that's a pretty good start, I would say
Yeah.
generally. Cam Young continues to do well, as we talked about, like he ended the year last year on a hot streak, and he keeps playing consistently, top 10s, almost top 5s half the time. And then another guy that surprised me a little was Xander. Not that it
Yeah.
should surprise me, but as we talked about, I think he kind of fell off a little bit after his injury, and it seems like more like the last few events he's picked it up. And your boy Alex Noren
Yeah.
picked it up a little bit this time too.
Yes, sir. I'm telling you, keep your eye on that one.
So only other ones that I think are worth mentioning would be Marco Penge. So he was at one point in the lead or tied for
Yeah.
the lead. Kind of a random guy. You don't really see him that often on the tour, but he usually plays a lot at like the DP World Tour overseas. So he ended up finishing tied for 16th and kind of fell off a bit. But the other random guy that keeps showing up is Pearson Cootie. I don't know
Yeah.
if you're familiar with him, but a younger
I've chosen
guy.
him like every week in the fantasy
Really?
league. Yeah.
Yeah. Has been playing lights out recently, just on a hot streaks. I don't know. I thought it was a good event. Cool to see Tiger. They asked him about the Masters. They asked him about playing again. I don't know if you saw the presser at all, but it was an interesting one.
I remember him saying that he wouldn't rule out the Masters for this year, and I'm just hoping to see him there, man. Even if it's not like the Tiger we know and love, like just to see him on the field again would be cool.
Yeah. I want to make sure though, like if he does play, it's not just like a gimmick, because like the last few times he's played, he literally either doesn't make the cut or like gets hurt and has to withdraw halfway.
Yeah.
So it's like, all that for nothing.
Speaking of not being playing this year, there's a lot of people not playing this weekend, right?
Mhm.
What do you know about that? Do you know like the big names that are missing?
A lot of people. This is a weird one because the Cognizant Classic, it's like it's the migration from California to Florida in terms of where they play, right? So they've been in California for the first, I don't even know, 4 or 5 events, and now they're going to be in Florida for like whatever it is, 5, I don't even know how many, 5 or so events, I think. So it is a little bit odd not to see people, a lot of like good people in the field or top people playing, but I will say based on the last 2 events, maybe even the last 3 events being like signature events or ones that are the top of the top are playing, I don't know, I feel like these guys usually take a week off from time to time, so it's probably just that's the case if I had to guess.
I was just looking at only 8 of the top 50 golfers in the world are competing at the Cognizant Classic, so there's a lot of people missing.
Yeah.
It sounds like some of the top builds betted on players were Adam Scott, Ben Griffin, and Jacob Bridgman, and all 3 of them have since withdrawn. They were originally planning to play and have withdrawn, probably because of the success that they had this past weekend. 2 of the 3.
Yeah, I was gonna say I would guess it's probably because of they played pretty well. That. But do you want to do some picks for that?
I guess, yeah. I'm looking at my list here for the field, and I'm like, oh man, this is going to be harder than I thought it might be. But let's do it. Let's jump in.
Okay, so let's do. I think we've been doing 1 in the top 10, 1 to make the cut, 1 to miss the cut, outright winner so far. So who do you got for 1 in the top 10? This one's going to be tough.
Ooh, Max Homa. That's going to be my pick this week.
I like that. I mean, out of the people available, I'm going to say I'm going to pick someone that's not as well known and maybe a little newer, but I know he played well at one of the first events. Give me Blades Brown, a younger dude that finished tied for 18th apparently in his last start. So he's been on a little more of a run more recently. I don't know. Interesting guy. What about who do you have for 1 to make the cut?
Make the cut. Gosh, I'm just Tom Kim. Tommy Kim.
Oh my God. He's playing?
He's playing.
Oh my God. All right. Well, I knew that he was going to come up somehow. He always does. Give me, I'm taking a look at who's available here. Give me Aaron Rye.
Okay. Yep.
He's kind of one of those guys that has a great game, but somehow can never finish. But I think he makes the cut. What about miss the cut?
Oh, I'll go with a guy that has a good game and doesn't ever finish lately and say it's going to be controversial. Will Zalatoris will miss the cut.
Wow, he's playing too? Oh my God. This one's interesting. So I was looking, this goes back to the waste management. And if you watched our pod that we did as the recap, it'll ring a bell for some people, but give me Eric Van Rooyen to miss the cut. He's missed the cut the first 5 events of the year so far.
Damn. Okay. Not a good stretch.
Yeah, but so if you watched that episode, you might recall that we were watching him tee off, and we had they gave us these I don't even know what to call them, bandana things at one of the booths, and we all put them under our hats, and so it looked like we had do-rag or I don't even know what to call it. We said we looked like Saudis.
Okay, yeah.
And so we were literally staring at him. He's about to tee off, or not tee off, but he's at the tee box. He's staring at us, and he's looks so confused and disgusted. He's like, are these guys from Live or something? Are they scouting me?
That's hilarious.
It was the weirdest thing I've ever experienced, because I was like, all right, this guy definitely thinks that we're weird, but all right, moving on. So he's going to miss the cut. Who do you have for your outright winner?
Ooh, Michael Torbjornsson.
Oh, your boy?
Yeah, we're riding that train again.
That one.
Me too, man. I feel like this could be the one.
That's a great pick. I didn't even see him in here. I'm looking at Oh, I like for this one, I like Christian Benzenhout.
Okay. I didn't know how to pronounce his name. I'm not going to lie to you.
Yeah, he has been playing pretty well, and he's a pretty good course fit for the
Hmm.
course and the style here. So sometimes he randomly will go off and be like, you'll see him like in the top 5 or 10 from time to time. So we'll see if he can pull something out this week.
Hell yeah. We'll see.
So
Looking forward to it. You know what? It'll be nice. We'll have a winner that doesn't normally win to this weekend, which would be cool. We've had a
yeah,
lot of that recently this year. I mean, I didn't expect Bridgman to win last week.
yeah. He Bridgman though he played well the week before.
Yeah, he
I
did.
remember. I remember. I think I had him the week before in DraftKings, and I was like,
He's heating
okay,
up.
yeah, but didn't go with him 2 weeks in a row. That was my bad. So cool, man. Well, looking forward to watching some golf and yeah, seeing what else is going on in sports. But we'll catch you guys next week.
Absolutely. Hockey's coming back. They're back in the States. Looking forward to NHL being on TV again. And we're getting to that March Madness season. So stick with us. We'll have some tournaments that we'll post on our socials and just kind of looking forward to having more variety in the sports on the TV again.
Cool. Cheers.
Cheers.